Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Leaderboard Volunteer Committee presentation for the 2023 U.S. Open. I want to start off by thanking you all for volunteering. The USGA would not be able to operate any of their championships without the help of all the volunteers, so thank you so much. My name is Nora Ahmed. I'm a long-term championship office intern for the U.S. Open this year. And I, along with your committee chair, will be helping aid you through the leaderboard process. Like I said, your committee chair, his name is Mark Hedstrom. He will be in charge of the leaderboard committee as well as practice areas. Aiding him will be the 2023 U.S. Open coordinator, who you've heard from, John Ryan Celebrity. Lena Campbell is joining us from the 2024 U.S. Open, as well as myself. The leaderboard committee is responsible for updating the leaderboard and the scores of the leaders who are represented on the board. Just so you know, volunteers may have to climb ladders and operate the leaderboard from an elevated platform, especially the monster board. So if you have any issues with that, please let us know. We ask that all leaderboard volunteers check in at volunteer headquarters, which will be located players right of hole 1. We have an amazing location this year with a view of golf, so we please ask that you check in there prior to when your shift begins. The shuttle for your assigned volunteer parking lot will drop you off directly in front of the main admission gate, and then you'll be able to make your way over to volunteer headquarters. If you cannot make your shift or you find out that you're going to be late for your shift, we please ask that you notify us. If you find out before 5 a.m. of the day you're scheduled to volunteer, please email us. And if you find out after 5 a.m. of the day that you're scheduled to volunteer, that for whatever reason, you won't be able to make your shift or that you're going to be late, please call us. As you can see here, the red star indicates where the shuttle will drop you off on Wilshire Boulevard. You'll then be able to walk through the main admission gate and then over a bridge that is being constructed over Wilshire Boulevard to volunteer headquarters. And volunteer headquarters is right to your right-hand side. As soon as you cross over the bridge, you can't miss it. The leaderboard is located very conveniently for you folks this year. It'll be placed right behind volunteer headquarters. So after you check in, you can just walk to the back of volunteer headquarters and the leaderboard will be there. As you can see here, the red line indicates how you'll make your way to the leaderboard after you're dropped off. So you just walk through the main admission gate over the bridge, and then the leaderboard and volunteer headquarters will be directly on your right-hand side. This year, we only have one traditional leaderboard. The rest will all be digital, but we have the monster board, which is what you'll be operating. It's located players right of hole 1, directly behind volunteer headquarters. We're going to display the top 10 players. Some of these players might not be necessarily in the top 10 of the championship. They may be notable names that will also be on the leaderboard. And so we're going to place the hole by hole score for the current round on the monster board. When operating the monster board, that we ask that you please make sure all the names for the players are spelled correctly and that the scores are accurate throughout the entirety of your shift. Those are the two main important things. We please ask so that it's easier for you to operate the monster board that you keep the letters and the numbers from mixing and keep the red numbers from the green numbers. The red indicates under par and green indicates over par or even. If you have a shortage of any letters or numbers that you need, please contact your committee chairman or any of the USGA staff. Your checkout duties will include tearing down the leaderboard every night. So every night we will remove all the letters and the names from the monster board. So that will be the responsibility of the volunteers who are scheduled for the afternoon shift. It's important to remember that the way you place the number or a name into the panel on the monster board is not how it's going to look on the opposite side of the monster board to viewers and spectators. So it might be easier to have one volunteer responsible for standing where attendees and spectators can see the board and help direct you on how to insert the numbers and the names so that they are not flipped or mirrored on the other side to the spectator. So that's something important to keep in mind. This is a video that will give more specific instructions as to how the monster board is operated and how we will be communicating with you and updating you on the scores and which names and players should be on the monster board for the day.
Another board that the USGA uses goes by the name of Monster Board. This board is located near the 18th green. Its display of information is slightly different than a leaderboard, as it shows a running tab of a player's round hole by hole relative to par. For an example, McIlroy did not make an 11 on the first hole, but was 11 under par for the championship after playing the first hole of the third round. For most scenarios, whenever possible, the USGA uses backloading boards. If yours operates this way, there are handles to pull down the relevant door to change the information, but there is often a small metallic hinge or catch holding up the door that needs to be adjusted first in order to get the door into the down position. The headings are quite helpful to volunteers when the captain is calling out the changes. When making changes, the doors will need to be opened. In this example on the monster board, a player is being replaced, as are the hole-by-hole totals. It is important to clear previous information before putting up the new. As an example, if you are replacing a player, you want to get that name down and the scores. It should be a goal that the latest cumulative information is the first to go up. This is extremely important on the monster board as it identifies how the person stands for the championship. Also, please note that there is a ladder. For most volunteers, accessing the top 3 rows or so on a board may require the use of the ladder. The USGA supplies a single ladder to be shared on a combination board. While it may be hard to tell from this picture, names are built by combining individual letters. The letters, as well as numbers, are magnetic and adhere to the metallic board. When working with a backloading board, you'll be working from right to left, and it is easy to accidentally display E's and 3's backwards. We mentioned individual letters and numbers a couple of slides ago. These letters and numbers come in trunks supplied by the USGA. These trunks are placed on the wooden base of each board prior to the beginning of the championship. Each morning, the first shift should open the trunk, take out the letters and numbers, and place those on the waist-high platforms. This will make it easy to access those individual place cards when you need to change something on the board. There are separate trunks for leaderboards and throughboards, and if possible, please keep the inventory of these letters and numbers separate. But borrowing, when necessary, is acceptable. Those people working the last shift of the day, after receiving verbal confirmation from Scoring Central, should take down the letters and numbers from the board and put the letters and numbers back into their respective trunks. Now, let's look at the handheld device you'll be using. When the first shift checks in during the morning, it should assure that the whole number that it has been assigned to is the whole number that the screen is displaying on the device. For through-board purposes, having the device say hole number 12 is not going to work very well if you are assigned to hole number 5. Many folks are comfortable just using their fingers, while others feel more comfortable using the attached stylus, or even a golf tee. Metallic objects such as car keys should never touch the screen. Please note that there are 4 touch points on the main menu of the screen, as seen in light blue. Each should be relatively self-explanatory. There is a messaging capability, as noted by Send Message. There's also a Setup button, but you should not have to use the Setup button during the course of the championship. Okay, let's act as if we tapped the posted leaderboard area of the screen. And tapped is a key word here, as it only takes a light touch to activate the screen. Pressing harder does not help, even if it feels good to you because you're frustrated. This example shown here has only 3 players on the screen. This is to make a point that you will not have 10 names on the board at all times. Early in the day is a perfect example, and sometimes the USGA can't figure out who to put up, so it leaves a blind blank, waiting for something to happen. The line numbers are helpful in calling out the changes to the volunteers. Row 4 would be a good reference point in connection to the yellow arrow, which happens to be used as a highlight in this presentation only. A reference to creativity is important. In the majority of cases, only the last name is displayed. However, there are certain situations where 2 or more players in the championship have the same last name. So the screen may display the first letter of the first name in order to differentiate the 2 players. And sometimes we have to go even deeper into the first name to make the distinction. Think of the last name Kim in connection with the U.S. Women's Open. There may be 7 or 8 players with the same last name. We want you to display the name exactly as it appears on the device.
After your volunteer shift, we encourage all our volunteers to enjoy the championship before and after your volunteer shift. So we encourage you to go out, watch some golf, enjoy all the US Open has to offer. If you are not working a shift, we ask that you please remove your credentials so that we know that you're not acting in a volunteer capacity at that time. You do not need to change out of your volunteer apparel at all. We just ask that you please remove your credentials so that we know that you are not acting in a volunteer capacity. And at the conclusion of your shift, we ask that you as well do not act in a volunteer capacity when you are not scheduled to volunteer. Shuttles will be available to take you back to your designated parking lot in the same location that they dropped you off at the conclusion of your shift. We encourage all our volunteers to visit volunteer headquarters in the morning. We'll have breakfast and coffee as well as some light snacks throughout the day. We ask that you only access volunteer headquarters on the days you are scheduled to volunteer, just so that we can manage the traffic. We're very lucky to have a lot of volunteers, and it would be difficult to accommodate all 3,000 in one day. We also encourage that you visit volunteer headquarters so that you can enter a volunteer raffle to win some cool prizes and memorabilia. Again, the red star indicates where you will be, where the shuttle will drop you off each morning or each afternoon when you arrive for your shift, and volunteer headquarters is located on your right-hand side as soon as you come off the bridge that goes over Wilshire Boulevard. A few friendly reminders. We can't address problems if we are not made aware. If you run into any problem with regards to how to carry out your duties as a volunteer or any safety concerns, we please ask that you make your committee chair aware or a USGA staff member, and we will do our best to assist you and answer any questions you may have. When you are volunteering, please do not attempt to get any autographs or take photos with players or caddies. Volunteer apparel must be worn during your shift, and we ask that you not alter anything to your apparel or credential without prior USGA approval. And we please ask that you do not consume any alcoholic beverages before or during your shift. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this orientation. We're really excited to have you at Los Angeles Country Club in a few days. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact our championship office, either via email or via our phone number, and we'll be happy to answer any questions or concerns that you may have. Have a great day.